I'm Misty Velasky, and this is Ojai Valley News In Depth. Joining me today is Jon Wyers, Athletic Director at Villanova Prep. Thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Misty.
Absolutely. So tell us, you are not new to Villanova. It's your third year there, but you're new to the Athletic Director position. So how did you get into sports, and how did you eventually end up at Villanova?
Well, I got into sports after I graduated from college. I got into junior college basketball. I was an assistant coach for 6 years at that level at Hancock College and then at Ventura College. And then with budget cuts at the junior college level and not having my master's, I was looking for a high school job, saw Villanova Prep in the paper, and got hired by Jon Wyers at the time.
Great. And of course, you are also the basketball coach there. So you've seen a little bit about what the philosophy behind Villanova is and the types of sports teams you have. So what makes Villanova sports different?
I think the main difference is, since we're such a small school, our student populations ranged from 275 to about 300 since I've been there. We have a lot of three-sport athletes, where I know a lot of high schools nowadays try to get their athletes to specialize in one sport.
So it's a little bit challenging on the kids, obviously much more demanding on them and their time.
Yeah, but I think it makes them more well-rounded, and it gives them more things to put on their college applications as well, which is always good.
Absolutely. So, of course, the big sport of the fall is football. I know you guys are 0-2 this year, but you have a good experienced coach who's been with the team for, what, I think you said 6 years now?
Yeah, 5 or 6 years.
And brand new, he's assistant coach, but brand new to the head coaching position. So why did you decide to bring Tyler Wiggins up to that head coaching position?
Well, our headmaster, Ms. Carol Hoffer, and our dean of students, Mike Stumpf, in the spring, when we still didn't really have an athletic director yet, I was filling in with Mike as the interim athletic director. They moved forward with the football job, and they decided to stay in-house, and they interviewed all the assistant coaches, and Tyler had been there the longest out of the assistant coaches. He's well-liked by the kids. He does campus security at night, since we have the residential program, so he knows a lot of the resident students, and they felt he was ready to step up to be the head coach.
So 0-2, season's starting a little bit slow, of course, but you guys have some really good kids coming up. You have the Schoenfeld brothers, Will Schoof, going back and forth with quarterback. So what's the season going to shape up to be like this year? Yeah,
we think as we go along, we're going to get better as we roll into league. Obviously, Tyler's been there, but it's his first year as head coach, so he's revamped the offense. We're more of a throwing offense now. In the past, we were more of a running-based offense, and they've changed up some of our defensive schemes. So the kids are just learning that. We have kids in new positions. Obviously, the loss of Jackson Doyle, Evan Smith, some of those seniors were big losses. But right now, like you said, Will and the younger Schoenfeld John, who's only a sophomore, they've each started a game at quarterback. They have a nice little competition going. And John's older brother, Joe, is doing well as the running back. Senior Austin Roberson's doing good as the goal line back. And then Thomas Dempsey's actually 300 yards short of the all-time receiving record at the school.
Wow.
So he's doing,
already?
Yeah, already. So he's doing really well as a receiver. He kind of came on his junior year, and he's continued on so far this year.
Now, a few years back, you revamped bringing back football from, I think it was like a 26 years that Villanova did not have football. You started off with an 8-man team, and then after a year or two, moved up to an 11-man team. Obviously, with a small student population, you're looking at a limited amount of students from which to choose for your team. Is there any consideration to maybe bring it back down to an 8-man team?
At this time, I don't think so. I've discussed that with the football coaches, and they would like to stay at 11-man football. Obviously, depending on how our enrollment is over the next couple of years, if it drops or we're having a tough time fielding a team, then it's obviously something to look at, but it's not necessarily in the plans. Right now, we have about 30 kids on the varsity team, which isn't like some of the public schools with 50 kids, but it's definitely enough to field an 11-man football team.
And what are some of your plans for the rest of the sports? I know that we're always looking to expand. Is there any goal that you have as athletic director that you really want to bring in?
The main two goals we've kind of been working on so far early is we're trying to revamp our student section, give it more of a college feel where there may be a themed student section. Kids would be fired up, get our crowds a little bit better. The student section had been called the Galloping Ghosts, which was the original mascot of the school. We're trying to tie it in more with our Wildcat mascot. So I've been working with ASB Director Brian Roney and the ASB officers on doing that. We think if the kids have a say on the new student section, they'll buy into it more, so we're getting it down to 3 names they can vote on. And then I've met a guy that I worked with at Ventura College, Brant Jackson, who recently just donated a bunch of old sports memorabilia to Villanova because he used to be our football coach there in the 70s. He's told us he would help us maybe try to establish some of our records in our history books farther because he likes going through microfilm and stuff. Because right now, either our sports don't have record books or they only go back to the early 2000s. Before that, coaches didn't pass them on to each other. So we're kind of looking on that. And then obviously you always want to upgrade your athletic facilities. And
Any chances at a football stadium?
Football stadium, I don't know. What I've been told is we don't have city ordinance to put lights up. These are where we're located. But I know we are working on getting a shade covering over our pool area that should hopefully be done by next summer. Last year we put in the outdoor basketball court. We're just looking on little upgrades like that, more storage facilities because our school's grown a lot since it was first built, so we're kind of outgrowing some of our facilities.
And you had mentioned the pool. So you guys have a great water polo team this year, 3-0. So and Jermaine has been the coach for several years now. So tell us about the rest of the sports that are going on this fall. We've got the water polo team, girls volleyball, we've got girls golf, or I'm sorry, girls tennis. So how's everybody else doing?
Yeah, just start off with the water polo. We actually, this year, a lot of people thought it was going to be a rebuilding year for us because we graduated 12 seniors, basically our entire team. And like you said, they've started off 3-0. They're doing very well. Senior Eddie Campana's really doing good, scoring goals for us. And our lower levels are 3-0 as well. So Jermaine's done a great job of avoiding that rebuilding year.
Yeah, that's really something.
Yeah, girls tennis is in season. They return all of their players from the 2010 Frontier League Championship last year.
Excellent.
And they are 2-2 right now. And Marlena Hartman's our number 1 singles player. Emily McAtee's also one of our top players. And then girls volleyball is currently 2-8. We have a young girls volleyball team this year. A couple people we thought were returning to the team ended up not as the summer went on. We have a key injury to one of our returning players, Emily Palmer. But we have Katie Bailey, who's only a freshman, is starting on varsity and doing well. And our other returning players have stepped up that came up from the JV level. So we think as we go on, the volleyball season will get better. But they are up in the Tri-Valley League because they were really good in the Frontier League a couple of years ago.
And that's always how it goes. It goes back and forth like that.
With us being a small school, most of our sports, when we get up to Tri-Valley, it's a little tough for us to compete.
So what are some of the best games all season? If anybody in town wants to come and watch some of the fall sports, what are some of the games that you would recommend? I
would always recommend Nordhoff games against us. That's our league rivalry.
The bucket game?
Yeah, they're not always in our league in all sports, but most of our sports at least play them once. I know our boys basketball game, it's actually our senior night this year for us.
Wow,
so
that'll be a big one.
Yeah, that'll be a nice game for us. So Nordhoff in every sport. I know in volleyball, Lorena and Oaks Christian are some of the top teams in our league. Water polo, Rio Mesas and Oaks Christian's one of the better teams to come see us play. And then in football, Santa Clara, Bishop Diego, those will be good games for us.
So what else is going on over there? Anything coming up for Villanova Sports or fundraising?
Yeah, we have a couple fundraisers that are all school fundraisers. We have a bocce tournament, which is on October 8th, I believe. If you go to our website, villanovaprep.org, there's registration on there. And then we have our golf tournament that we hold at the Ojai Valley.
Ojai Valley Inn?
Yeah, Ojai Valley Inn. That's October 17th. And there's still sign-ups for that. and there's opportunities to be whole sponsors, corporate sponsors. And other than that, we just got done with an athletic fundraiser where we have people purchase banners that get hung in the gymnasium, and it shows support for the school, and it also has a little advertising for their businesses.
Always helps.
Yeah, but then a couple of our sports have little fundraisers they do, but other than that, there's no big athletic fundraisers for right now.
Well, thanks very much for being here. I sure appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm Misty Velasky. This is Jon Wyers. This has been Ojai Valley News In Depth.